Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a truth we all know but rarely admit. Rejection hurts. It cuts deep, it bruises pride, it shakes confidence. Whether it comes from a job we hoped for, a dream we chased, or a person we cared for, rejection feels like the world is telling us we are not enough. But let me tell you something tonight. Rejection is not the end of your story. In fact, it may just be the most important chapter. Because every no you've ever faced has the power to lead you to a greater yes. Rejection is not the enemy, it is the hidden force that can shape your strength. Your purpose and your destiny, rejection, something every single one of us has felt at some point in life, whether it's a lost opportunity, a closed door, or a person who simply said no. Rejection is universal. But here's the truth, rejection does not define your worth. It is not the end of your story. It is simply a chapter that teaches you something new. Every no you hear only brings you closer to the right yes. Think of rejection not as the end of the road, but as redirection. Sometimes life pushes us away from what we want because it is preparing us for what we truly deserve. When we are rejected, it hurts. It tests our patience and our resilience, but failure is not final. Failure is feedback. It's a chance to look deeper, to grow, and to prepare ourselves for the next opportunity. Growth is never comfortable, and discomfort is often the birthplace of strength. Remember, even the strongest people you admire today have faced rejection countless times. What set them apart was not that they were never rejected, but that they chose to rise every time rejection tried to hold them down. Do not take rejection personally. Often it has less to do with you and more to do with timing, circumstances, or simply the fact that something better is waiting for you. Acceptance is freedom. It gives you peace of mind and clears the path forward. Instead of dwelling on the pain, ask yourself, what lesson does this rejection hold for me? Because every rejection is a teacher. It builds character, patience, and perseverance. A delayed opportunity is not a denied destiny. So if you are rejected, accept it, embrace it, because it is not the end. It is simply preparation for something greater. Keep moving forward because your time will come. Rejection is something every single one of us has faced. It does not matter who you are, where you come from, how talented, intelligent, or even wealthy you may be. At some point in your journey, you will be told no. You will be turned away. You will be overlooked. And in that moment, it feels like the world has closed its doors on you. Think about it. The student who studies day and night, but still doesn't get accepted into their dream university. The job seeker who sends out dozens of applications only to be met with silence. The entrepreneur who pours their heart into an idea only to be told it will never work. The athlete who trains for years but is left sitting on the bench. The artist who is told their work isn't good enough. No matter who you are, rejection is inevitable. It cuts across race, culture, status, and background. It is one of the few experiences in life that makes us all equal, because none of us are immune to it. And what's even more powerful is this. If you look at anyone who has achieved greatness, you will find a story of rejection somewhere in their journey. But here's the question, why does rejection hurt so much? Because we tie our identity to the outcome. When someone says no, we think they are rejecting us, our value, our talent, our worth. But the truth is, rejection is not personal. It is not a verdict on your identity. It is simply a moment in time, a response to a situation, not a definition of who you are. And here is the beauty of it. Since rejection is universal, it also means you are not alone. Every single person you admire, every leader, every champion, every role model you look up to, at some point they too were rejected. They too felt that sting, and yet they used that rejection as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Now let me take this further. One of the greatest mistakes we make after facing rejection is to let it define us. We start to believe that the no we received is a reflection of who we are. We begin to think we are not smart enough, not talented enough, not attractive enough, not capable enough. But that is a lie. Rejection is not a mirror of your value. It is simply feedback from a moment, from a situation, from a circumstance that did not align with you at that particular time. You see, your worth is not determined by someone's opinion of you, by a closed door, or by an unanswered call. Your worth is something you carry within you, and no rejection in this world can take that away. Think of a diamond. If someone looks at a diamond and says, "I don't want it," does that mean the diamond has lost its value? No, the diamond remains precious, rare, and powerful, whether that person recognizes it or not. The same applies to you. If someone rejects you, it doesn't make you less. It simply means they could not see the value you carry, or perhaps the timing wasn't right for them to embrace it. Many people allow rejection to build walls inside their minds. They convince themselves they are not good enough, and so they stop trying, they stop dreaming, they stop moving forward. But the truth is, rejection is not proof of your weakness. It can be the spark that proves your strength. Your value is fixed, like gold, like the sun, like the ocean. It doesn't shrink when someone overlooks it. It doesn't disappear when someone fails to notice it. It is always there. And when the right moment comes, the right people, the right opportunity, the right place will recognize it. So never mistake rejection for identity. Rejection is an event. Your worth is eternal. Here's something we often forget. Every time life gives you a no, it is not the end of your journey. It is simply a step toward the right yes. Think about it. If every door opened for you immediately, you would never learn patience. You would never build resilience, and you would never discover the strength hidden inside you. Every no you hear is not a rejection of your future, it is a filter. It removes the wrong opportunities, the wrong people, the wrong places, so that when the right moment arrives, you will be ready to embrace it fully. The no is not punishment, it is preparation. Consider the author whose manuscript is rejected dozens of times before a single publisher finally says yes. And that yes changes the world. Think of the athlete who is told no by scouts again and again until one coach believes in them, and suddenly that one yes opens the doors to glory. Think of the entrepreneur who hears no from countless investors but doesn't give up, because they know that all those closed doors are guiding them toward the one investor who truly understands their vision. Every no is not a stop sign. It is a redirection sign. It is the universe saying, this is not your place. Keep moving because something better is ahead. Imagine if you stopped at the first no. Imagine if you gave up after the first closed door. You would never experience the breakthrough waiting on the other side of persistence. A single yes has the power to outweigh 1,000 no's. That yes may come late. It may take time. It may require you to endure rejection after rejection. But when it finally arrives, you will realize why every no had to happen. They were not there to destroy you. They were there to shape you, to prepare you, to direct you toward the path meant for you. So when you hear a no, don't get discouraged. Smile, because each no is simply one step closer to the yes that will change everything. Rejection is not always a wall. Sometimes it is a signpost. It is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is protection. When a door closes in front of you, it doesn't always mean that you are unworthy. It may simply mean you are being redirected to something greater, something safer, something more fitting for your destiny. Think about it this way. If every single dream you had came true exactly as you imagined it, you would never discover the dreams that are bigger than your imagination. Sometimes rejection is life whispering to you, not here, not this way, not with this person, not at this time, keep moving. There's something better ahead. We often see rejection as a dead end, but in reality it is more like a detour. The road you wanted may be blocked, but that doesn't mean the journey is over. It simply means there is another path that will lead you to a destination far greater than the one you had planned. Think of the job you didn't get, the opportunity that slipped away, the relationship that ended. At first, it feels like loss. It feels like failure. But how many times in life have you looked back and realized that what you thought was the worst rejection was actually the best redirection? That closed door wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one that aligned more perfectly with your purpose. Rejection is often the universe protecting you from settling too soon. It keeps you from attaching yourself to places, people, and positions that cannot carry the weight of your destiny. Sometimes it hurts because you wanted it so badly, but pain has a way of pushing you into places you never would have gone on your own. So instead of asking, "Why me?" start asking, "Where is this taking me?" Instead of saying, "I lost," start saying, "I am being guided," because rejection is rarely the end. It is redirection, pointing you toward the path you were truly meant to walk. One of the greatest misconceptions we carry is the belief that failure equals finality, that when we fail, it means our journey is over. But failure is not the end. Failure is feedback. It is life's way of saying, here's what doesn't work. Here's what you need to adjust. Here's how you can grow stronger. Think about a child learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, they cry. But do they stop trying? No. Each fall is feedback. Each fall teaches balance, teaches caution, teaches resilience. And eventually, through trial and error, the child learns to stand, to walk, to run. Failure was never the end. It was part of the process. The same principle applies to us as adults. Every failure carries a lesson, and those lessons are priceless. A failed exam is feedback that you need a different study strategy. A failed business is feedback that you need to shift your model or sharpen your vision. A failed attempt in any area of life is not proof that you are incapable. It is proof that you are trying, that you are learning, that you are moving forward. Failure is a teacher far more powerful than success. Success whispers, but failure shouts. Success comforts, but failure sharpens. Success can make us complacent, but failure wakes us up. It forces us to reflect, to adapt, and to rise stronger than before. The most successful people in history were not those who avoided failure. They were those who embraced it, studied it, and used it as fuel to reach greater heights. They understood that failure is simply part of the formula for success. You cannot separate the two, so when you fail, don't see it as the end of your story. See it as feedback. Adjust, learn, grow, because failure is not a full stop, it's a comma, a pause, a moment to breathe before you continue writing the next line of your journey. Growth does not come from comfort. It comes from the very moments we would rather avoid, the pain, the pressure, the disappointment, the rejection. Discomfort is not your enemy, it is your trainer. It shapes you, stretches you, and prepares you for the version of yourself that comfort could never produce. Think of a seed planted in the soil. For that seed to become a tree, it must first be buried in darkness, pressed under the weight of the earth, broken open by the pressure of its environment. That breaking, that discomfort, is what allows new life to emerge. Without it, the seed would remain just a seed. In the same way, without discomfort, we remain the same. We do not evolve, we do not expand, we do not reach our fullest potential. Look at the bodybuilder in the gym. Growth doesn't come when the weight feels easy. Growth happens when the muscles are pushed beyond their comfort zone, when they are stretched, strained, even torn at the micro level. That discomfort is painful, but it is also necessary because it is in the repair, in the recovery, that strength is built. Life works in exactly the same way. Every disappointment, every rejection, every uncomfortable moment is resistance training for your soul. It feels heavy, it feels painful, but it is sculpting you into someone stronger than you were yesterday. The truth is, comfort zones are safe, but they are also prisons. Nothing new grows there. The greatest dreams, the boldest opportunities, the most powerful transformations, they live outside the walls of comfort. Discomfort is the bridge you must cross to reach them. So the next time you feel pain, rejection, or loss, remind yourself, this is not here to destroy me. It is here to grow me. Every tear waters the soil of your future. Every challenge stretches your capacity. Every uncomfortable moment is breaking the shell of who you were, so that the person you were meant to be can finally emerge. When we look at people we admire, the leaders, the inventors, the athletes, the artists, the thinkers, we often see only their victories. We see the shining moments, the applause, the success, the recognition. What we do not see are the countless rejections that came before the spotlight ever touched them. Even the strongest people, the ones who change the world, the ones whose names are remembered long after they are gone, they too faced rejection. They too were told they were not good enough. They too were doubted, ignored, underestimated. What made them strong was not the absence of rejection, but their response to it. Think of the scientist whose research was dismissed by peers before it became groundbreaking discovery. Think of the athlete cut from teams only to later become a champion the world could not forget. Think of the writer whose manuscripts were thrown aside, only for those very words to later inspire generations. At one point, the world told them no. At one point, doors closed in their faces, but rejection did not break them. It built them. Strength is not proven in the moments of applause. Strength is proven in the silence of rejection, when no one believes in you, when doors keep shutting, when failure seems louder than hope, and yet you still rise. That is where true strength is forged. The strongest people are not the ones who had the easiest journey. They are the ones who carried the heaviest weight and still kept walking. They are the ones who heard you can't and turned it into watch me. They are the ones who were told no and turned it into a louder yes through persistence, resilience, and unshakable belief. So the next time rejection makes you feel small, remember this truth. Even the giants of history once stood where you are now. They too were doubted. They too were rejected, but they did not stop, and neither should you. Rejection is not only about loss, it is also a test of your patience and a test of your resilience. Because anyone can smile when everything is working in their favor. Anyone can stay motivated when doors are opening, when opportunities are flowing, when applause is loud. But what about when the doors slam shut? What about when the phone never rings? What about when opportunity after opportunity slips through your hands? That is when patience is tested. That is when resilience is demanded. Rejection stretches your waiting room. It forces you to endure seasons where nothing seems to move, where progress feels invisible, where your efforts are unseen. And in those moments, patience is not just about waiting. It's about how you wait. Do you wait with hope, with discipline, with preparation? Or do you wait with bitterness, with doubt, with despair? Patience says, I trust that my time will come. Resilience says, even if it hasn't come yet, I will keep moving forward. Together, patience and resilience become your armor in the face of rejection. Think of the farmer who plants seeds. They do not see fruit overnight. Days, weeks, even months pass without visible results. But the farmer knows. Growth is happening underground, unseen, silent, steady. The farmer waits with patience, and when storms come or drought arrives, resilience keeps them tending the soil anyway. Eventually, the harvest comes. Rejection works the same way. It teaches you to keep sowing effort, to keep nurturing faith, even when results are delayed. Every rejection is asking you, can you endure? Can you keep showing up? Can you keep believing even when no one else does? Because success is not handed to those who quit in frustration. It is given to those who remain unshaken through the storms. Patience builds endurance, resilience builds strength, and rejection is the fire that forges both within you. The longer you hold on, the stronger you become. And when your breakthrough finally arrives, it will not only be sweeter, it will last because you have been prepared by rejection's test. Rejection can either be a wall that stops you, or it can be a stone you step on to climb higher. The choice is yours. Many people let rejection bury them, but the strongest people use it as a foundation to rise. Every rejection you face can either break you down or build you up. It depends on how you decide to use it. Think about this. A stepping stone is something beneath your feet. something that helps you move upward. Rejection is exactly that. It's not meant to sit on your shoulders as a burden, but to be placed under your feet as a step. Every no is not the ground sinking. It is the ground being built stone by stone so that you can rise higher than before. Some of the most powerful success stories in history were written by people who turned rejection into fuel. They didn't just absorb the pain and stop. They transformed the pain into purpose. They asked themselves, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What can this rejection push me to do differently, better, stronger? And the answers became their stepping stones. Imagine building a staircase. Every time someone rejects you, you add another step. 1 rejection, 2 rejections, 3, 10, 20. Each one becomes part of the staircase. At first, you don't see where it's leading. At first, it just feels like weight. But eventually, when you look back, you realize that every single rejection you faced has lifted you higher, closer to the place you were meant to reach. Rejection hurts, yes, but pain can be powerful when it is given purpose. Use the sting of rejection not as an excuse to stop, but as motivation to keep moving. Let every no sharpen your skills, strengthen your mindset, deepen your determination. Let rejection become the reason you rise, not the reason you fall. Because rejection was never meant to be your cage. It was meant to be your stepping stone. One of the greatest mistakes we make when we face rejection is that we immediately take it personally. We tell ourselves, it must be me, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it. But more often than not, rejection has nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with timing, circumstances, and factors beyond your control. A company might turn you down for a job not because you're unqualified, but because the budget changed. A publisher might decline your manuscript not because your words lack power, but because their schedule is full. A person might walk away not because you're unlovable, but because they themselves are not ready to give love. Rejection is not always about you. Sometimes it's about the season, the setting, the situation. But when we take rejection personally, we give it the power to define us. We start carrying invisible labels, unworthy, unwanted, untalented, undeserving. And those labels become walls that hold us back from trying again. That's why it's so important to separate your identity from the rejection you face. Think about the sun. If clouds cover the sky, you may not see it. If it's raining, you may not feel its warmth. But does that mean the sun has lost its light? Of course not. The sun is still shining just as brightly. It's just that circumstances are blocking the view. In the same way, rejection doesn't dim your value. It only means that, for now, something in the environment, something in the timing, something in the circumstances is blocking the recognition of your worth. The truth is, rejection is often about alignment. You may be the right person in the wrong place. You may have the right talent at the wrong time. You may have the right vision, but the wrong audience. That's not a reflection of weakness. It's a reminder to keep going until the right doors, the right people, and the right opportunities align with who you are and what you carry. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me, start asking, what's waiting for me? Because rejection is rarely a statement about your identity. It's usually a shift in circumstances, clearing the path for something that truly belongs to you. One of the hardest things to do after rejection is to accept it. Our natural instinct is to fight it, to replay it in our minds, to keep asking why. Over and over again, we dwell on the closed door, the unanswered message, the missed opportunity. And the more we resist, the heavier the rejection becomes. It eats at our peace, it drains our energy, it steals our joy. But the moment you choose acceptance, something powerful happens. You reclaim your peace of mind. Acceptance doesn't mean you like what happened. It doesn't mean you stop dreaming. It doesn't mean you give up. Acceptance simply means you stop fighting reality. You stop pouring your energy into what cannot be changed, and instead you redirect that energy toward what can be built, what can be pursued, what can be created next. Acceptance is freedom. Freedom from bitterness. freedom from endless what-ifs, freedom from the trap of self-blame. It is looking at the rejection and saying, yes, this happened, yes, it hurt, but no, it will not control me. Think about the ocean. When waves crash against a rock, the rock doesn't try to stop the wave. It simply accepts it, stands firm, and allows the wave to pass. And once it passes, the rock remains. That is what acceptance does for your soul. It makes you steady, unshaken, unbroken. When you accept rejection, you also open yourself to new possibilities. Because as long as you are clinging tightly to what didn't work, your hands are not free to receive what's next. Acceptance is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the wisdom to let go of what no longer serves you so you can embrace what is waiting ahead. And the beauty is this: the moment you accept, the weight lifts. The storm inside you calms, your vision clears, and you find peace, not because rejection disappeared, but because you refuse to let it dominate your mind. Every rejection carries a message. Every closed door whispers a lesson. The challenge is that most people are so focused on the pain that they never pause to hear what rejection is trying to teach them. They see rejection only as an enemy, when in reality, it can be one of life's greatest teachers. Rejection asks us to reflect. What can I do differently? What can I improve? What blind spots have I overlooked? Sometimes rejection exposes weaknesses we didn't want to face. Sometimes it reveals areas we need to sharpen. Sometimes it teaches us patience. And sometimes it teaches us to trust that timing matters more than speed. Think of the student who fails an exam. If they only cry over the grade and never review their mistakes, they will fail again. But if they look at where they went wrong, if they study harder, change their methods, ask for help, then failure becomes feedback and rejection becomes growth. Rejection is like a mirror. It reflects back something about us, sometimes something uncomfortable, sometimes something we didn't expect. But if we are willing to look into that mirror, we can discover truths that lead us to transformation. Even in the most painful rejections, there is wisdom hidden beneath the sting. Maybe the lesson is resilience. Maybe it's discipline. Maybe it's the courage to try again. Maybe it's the reminder that not every door is meant for you, but there is always something to learn. The people who rise after rejection are not necessarily the most talented or the most gifted. They are the ones who are willing to listen, to learn, and to adapt. They treat rejection not as an insult, but as instruction. And because of that, they grow stronger with every no they face. So don't waste your rejection by only feeling the pain. Dig into it. Ask the hard questions. Extract the wisdom. Because rejection is not just an obstacle. It is a classroom. And if you are willing to be a student, it will teach you lessons that success never could. Rejection has a way of testing the core of who you are. It strips away comfort, pride, and expectation, leaving you face to face with yourself. And in those moments, when the applause is silent and the doors are shut, your character is being shaped. Character is not built in victory. It is built in struggle. Anyone can smile when they are praised. Anyone can be humble when opportunities are flowing. But who are you when nothing seems to work? Who are you when people overlook you, when your efforts go unnoticed, when you hear no after no? That is when your true character is forged. Rejection humbles you. It teaches you not to place your identity in achievements, titles, or approval, but to ground yourself in resilience, integrity, and inner strength. It strips away arrogance and replaces it with empathy. Because once you've been rejected, you understand what pain feels like. And that makes you kinder, more compassionate, more human. Rejection also teaches persistence. It forces you to decide whether you will quit or continue. And every time you choose to keep going despite the pain, you strengthen the muscles of your character. Discipline, patience, endurance. You become someone who doesn't just shine in success, but also stands firm in hardship. The truth is, rejection is like fire. It burns, it hurts, it consumes, but fire doesn't only destroy, it also purifies. It removes the impurities, the weakness, the false confidence, and what remains after the fire is stronger, purer, unshakable. Many of the greatest leaders, thinkers, and innovators didn't just succeed because of their talent. They succeeded because their character was tough enough to handle success when it finally arrived. And it was rejection that gave them that toughness. So don't despise rejection, respect it, because while it may close doors, it opens something greater within you. It builds a character that cannot be broken, no matter how many times life says no. One of the hardest truths to accept about rejection is that it often feels final. When a door closes, we assume it will never open again. When we don't get what we hoped for, we convince ourselves it was never meant to be. But rejection does not always mean never. More often, it means not now. Life has a rhythm, a timing, a flow that we don't always see. Just because an opportunity hasn't arrived when you wanted it, doesn't mean it won't arrive when you're ready for it. Sometimes rejection is simply life's way of saying, wait, you're not prepared yet. Grow a little more, learn a little more, build a little more. Think about it. If you were given everything you wanted at the wrong time, would you be able to handle it? A career too early, a relationship before maturity, success without the discipline to sustain it. These things can destroy more than they can bless. A delay is not punishment, it's preparation. It's shaping you to carry the weight of what's coming. History is filled with people who faced delay after delay before their breakthrough. Authors whose books were rejected dozens of times before one publisher finally said yes. Athletes who sat on the bench for years before becoming champions. Innovators whose ideas were laughed at until the world caught up. What if they had mistaken delay for denial? What if they had quit too soon? The world would have been robbed of their gifts. When you experience rejection, you must remind yourself, my destiny is not tied to this one opportunity. My worth is not defined by this single outcome. If it is truly mine, no rejection can cancel it, only delay it. What belongs to you will find you, but sometimes you must wait until you are strong enough to receive it. So when the answer is no, today, don't write your future off as over. That no might be clearing the path for a bigger yes. That rejection might be keeping you from a lesser version of what you deserve. That delay may be proof that your destiny is not denied. It's simply still unfolding. Rejection doesn't just close one door. It often guides you toward another. The pain of being turned away is real, but hidden within it is direction. What feels like loss in the moment can later be revealed as guidance towards something greater. So many people look back at the rejections of their past and realize they were blessings in disguise. The job they didn't get freed them for the career they were truly meant for. The relationship that ended created space for someone who would love them better. The opportunity they thought was perfect was actually too small for the destiny that awaited them. Rejection whispers, this is not your path. Look again, try again, go further. It redirects you away from dead ends and toward opportunities that align with your true potential. What if every no you have faced was really a compass pointing you closer to where you were always meant to be? Think about a river. When it hits a rock, it doesn't stop, it redirects, it bends, it flows around obstacles, but it never loses its power to move forward. Rejection works the same way. It may block one path, but it does not end the journey. It forces you to look for another way, often a better way. The truth is, we are limited in vision. We see only the present, but rejection sees the bigger picture. It knows that what you thought was best may not truly serve you. It knows there is something beyond your sight, and rejection pushes you until you find it. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Start asking, where is this taking me? Because every rejection is not just an ending, it's a turning. A turning toward growth, toward alignment, toward opportunities that fit not just your desires but your destiny. When you accept rejection as redirection, You begin to trust that life is not against you but guiding you. You begin to walk with confidence, knowing that if one door closes, it simply means there is another door that was always meant for you, and it will open in its time. So, my friends, when life rejects you, don't let it define you. Let it refine you. Don't treat rejection as a wall that stops you. Treat it as a doorway that redirects you. Every no you've ever faced was never the end of your story. It was the beginning of a new chapter. Rejection is not your enemy. It is your silent teacher, your hidden strength, your secret compass. It does not mean you are unworthy. It means you are being prepared for something greater. The closed doors you cry over today may be the very doors you will thank tomorrow, because they saved you from less and pointed you toward more. Remember this: acceptance from others is temporary, but acceptance of yourself is eternal. You are not defined by who turned you away, but by how you choose to rise after they did. So the next time rejection comes, don't shrink, don't hide, don't surrender. Instead, stand tall, lift your head and say, "This is not the end. This is my redirection. This is my preparation. This is my becoming." Because rejection does not stop destiny. It shapes it, and your destiny is far greater than any rejection you have ever faced.